In a press conference this week, Epstein survivors came forward. They announced that they are going to be releasing their own list of offenders. Here is a video of their announcement.
And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
So this gets really complicated. Obviously, the transparency is nice, but I and many others have some questions. The biggest question being, why not release the list right now? Why are you making a big thing about this? What are you waiting for? Because it would seem to me, if there are offenders out there that should be brought to justice and should be behind bars as soon as possible, that their names should be out there ASAP. And the question is, why wait? Why? There's no reason to sell. And this is all I can think of, is to sell the information to the highest bidder. Because I'm assuming many news networks, CNN, Fox, etc., would pay good money to break a story like this. You can offer information to people and just see who pays the most. And I don't want that to be true, but I'm not the only one who's skeptical about this. Matt Walsh, who's been very angry, by the way, the Trump administration for not releasing more on Epstein, was pretty scathing to some of the survivors who announced this. Here's what he said. And this surprised me because he's been so anti-Trump, honestly, in many ways with the Epstein files. He said, I know people will say that these women haven't released the names because they're afraid, but then why are they on camera announcing their intention to release the names later? Doesn't make sense to do it this way if you fear for your life. He continues on another tweet and he said, I think the Trump admin should release all of its Epstein information, as I've said many times, but it is pure political theater to hold a big press conference with Epstein victims where they speak cryptically about all the powerful people implicated in this scandal, but refuse to actually name any of them. We know the names, but we'll tell you later, is BS. And I agree with that. And he finishes by saying, then why are you holding a press conference? What is this, a teaser trailer? People are making a game out of this issue on all sides. Extremely frustrating to watch. And I have to say, I just agree with most of that. I really do, because we've gotten very theatrical with all kinds of our politics. Here in America, it's not a good thing. When it comes to ousting child predators, which is about the most serious thing in politics that you can really imagine, quit with the theatrics. We don't need it. Just tell us who we need to investigate. Just give us the information. Don't sell it to people. Don't come out with teaser trailers like Matt Walsh was saying. Just tell us the truth. When they do things like this, it actually makes me think that they're not being completely honest, which, again, maybe they are. Maybe they're totally honest. My natural inclination, when people come out and they say, hey, this horrible thing's happened to me, is to believe them. Not on a legal level. I'm not saying we should jail people, but it is just to be like, yeah, I just believe people. Maybe that's naive of me, but I just do. But then they do things like this, and that makes me not believe them. And it doesn't look good either way. Obviously, one of the biggest questions in this is whether or not Trump would be part of the list. That's really the big question that people want to know. Obviously, one of the biggest questions when it comes to the Epstein scandal is whether or not Trump is part of the list. An Economist YouGov poll came out last month. 46% of Americans think Trump was involved in crimes allegedly committed by Epstein. That's a lot. And maybe it's high, but that's what the poll shows. 32% say he was not. 23% are uncertain. The fact that that 23% isn't higher is actually pretty scary. Most people should say, I don't know for sure, but most people have an opinion on it. And the majority is that they think he's involved in crimes. And despite those numbers, the survivors themselves this week have actually said that Trump had nothing to do with it. They openly came out with that. We have several videos of it. Take a look.
And I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
So those are victims openly saying Trump was not part of it. We also have other survivors who have been asking Trump to release the files, and you can tell that they're seeing him as an ally. You don't ask someone who did something horrible to you or you know is part of something evil to release something, right? They see him as an ally, not as one of the predators. Take a look.
President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. please use that influence and power to help us, because we need it now and this country needs it now.
Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax.
Okay, so I'm sorry. For those saying that Trump is part of the Epstein scandal, you have dozens of survivors now saying that Trump was not part of it at all. So I'm going to believe the survivors. I believe them. Now, just because Trump wasn't at the island doesn't mean he's actually handling the criticism well, because he's really not. Here is his reaction to finding out that the survivors are once again asking for him to release more files.
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
Okay, so allow me to analyze Trump's thoughts for a second. He's got a lot to work on. He's been very successful in a lot of areas. Again, that was a bad response, but he himself knows that he is not a predator. So hearing this stuff to him is annoying. It's a waste of time in his mind. And I think if other people, for me or for you, for example, if you heard this, you'd be like, shut up. Stop, like, why are we still talking about this? However, I kind of get that on Trump's part. However, in terms of optics, and he is the president of the United States, so optics matters for him more than maybe anybody in the world. In terms of optics, this is a failure. A pretty good rule of thumb in politics is that when sexual assault survivors plead for help from you, you at least need to say kind things about them and offer some compassion. Don't just say it's coming from Democrats. Because again, that girl in it said, look, I'm a registered Republican. This isn't just Democrats saying these random things. These are things that people actually care about. And it's just kind of rule number one, like, don't just disregard what sexual assault victims are saying. Trump has not done this very effectively at all. Some Republicans are now coming after Trump for it. Thomas Massie, who says a lot of good things. I think a lot of people like him for what he says, but he hasn't actually done anything productive in Congress whatsoever. Got pretty intense with the president online. This is what he tweeted out. He said, White House says helping me secure a vote to release all the Epstein files is a hostile act, but they're threatening anyone who helps bring true transparency and justice for the survivors. This is a tacit admission that the Oversight Committee data release is woefully incomplete. And he actually posts what they said below. And it does say, helping Thomas Massie would be viewed as a very hostile act. And he makes a good point. I think he does. Michael Knowles, who is a huge Trump loyalist, retweeted Thomas Massie's tweet of that, saying the following. He's quite scathing in it. He says, 2005, Epstein story breaks. 2015, it becomes a national news story. 2025, Trump threatens to primary Thomas Massie over a spending bill. 4 months later, Massie mentions Epstein for the first time and makes it his personal crusade. Funny how that timeline works. And honestly, a lot of that's true. That's a good point. That's what Thomas Massie is doing. And so, again, the optics for Trump is putting out very, very poor energy. It's not good. But why? The question that you should be asking is, why are people caring so much right now? If you've always cared, fair enough. That's great. I have no criticism for you. But if for the first time, like Thomas Massie, you're starting to care, I'm sorry, it just seems like it is political opportunism. You've got political opportunists coming out of the shadows to try and take advantage of President Trump. And I think that does a real disservice, to your party, but mostly to the survivors, because I think the survivors releasing a list to a news organization in this glitzy and theatrical manner is a real mistake. I do, because there's no way to verify if these names are real. So they're going to come out with this list. Who knows what they're going to get for doing it? Maybe they'll do it for free and they're just wanting the news, to build it up so more people will see it. Fair enough. Maybe they'll do it in some unethical way. I hope they don't. But let's say they do it in a fine way. If we get the names, what is it going to do? To Trump's point, what he says in that video is it's never enough. And that is true. It will never be enough. People will continue to say, oh, well, Donald Trump's part of it, or these people are part of it. It doesn't really matter how much transparency we get. And that's the absolute truth. And even with these names, these victims may find themselves covered in defamation lawsuits if they don't release the list with evidence. I hope they release it with evidence. If they don't, they could be in a bevy of lawsuits, which again is counterproductive to their cause in the first place, which we're all very sympathetic to. Conservatives have got to stop supporting streaming networks that hate them, and that's why I partnered with We the Free. The Josh Carr Show is on We the Free, and they have fantastic content from all kinds of movies, TV shows, and Second Amendment content. Go check them out right now. They are a conservative streaming platform that actually loves America, loves what you stand for. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. Please like the video so other great patriots like yourselves will see it. And you can tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show, or you can watch another video right here.